Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
For workflow, we will be going in to manage all the job based on the job. Now we want to go and create a workflow. We will go and type workflow here. We want to go and create a workflow for any of the MBF obvious. Let's take something for the MBF object. Something as any object we will go and take. Let's take a gap layer. We have to mention some code also. MBF workflow for let's take. And just copying it. You paste it here. If we want to have the translation in other languages, then we can mention here the translation when customer will provide us the name. That is one thing. Then we are not using right now because it is not a mandatory field, but in the last session we have explained each and everything. About all the features here, we will directly going into the approver section and I will be using for the training purpose taking the position. And let me go to my Excel and let me type workflow. Here the topic which we have covered in the last session. I have taken some sample approvals. Those sample approvals, I have taken the position ID. I will be copying this position ID because the approver type I have selected a position. Then I will paste it here. And remaining, I am not doing anything. I am keeping it very simple to show you the process. Exploding. You can able to explore by changing various edit transactions levels. Also, you can able to go and change position, and here I am taking the position. When you people will practice, you try to create when you have your own data. You can use your data under for creating the dynamic role also and for the dynamic group also. And here I am taking the another, this one. Position. And the third one, the player type. and the CC role. In the CC role, I am not taking contributors. In the CC role, for the final notification, I can go with external email where I can mention my email that I will be receiving the final email notification update. I have an email ID. This is the ID which I just using for the workflow and I will be saving it. I created a workflow whenever, for the name, the project division, somebody is going and creating or changing it. It should trigger the workflow. And who all are the approvals, that level of approval. I have already added in the approval section and final notification. I will be getting in the external email. That is my email. This is the first step. Second step is to assigning the workflow. For assigning the workflow, where we need to assign the workflow because what is the object which we are trying to execute? It is a division. Where this division defined? It is defined in the configure object definition. I will go to configure object definition and in the configure definition, I will be selecting the object definition. What is the object which we were doing? Created the workflow division. Once I have taken for division, I will scroll down and here we have an option that is called lesser workflow route. Can we see here the workflow routing option is there in the workflow routing. We need to add the workflow which we have created. I am just copying this. I assign that workflow to the workflow routing under the division. Under the division. And after that I will save it because for the MDF object we have an option. In every object we have an option that is for the floating and we can able to assign that for a flow. Now after assigning the workflow we need to go and do the testing. How we will go and do the testing? By creating the record. For creating the record, we have to go to where the MDF object is being created. The records are created in managed data. Defining the MDF object is done in configure object definition and creating the records. We are doing it in managed data. Let me go here and let me go into division. Let me take some date here. Then we have to mention division code. For specifying the division code, let me take something. Let me take division. Let me take the division code. And let me select business unit. And now I will click on Save. If the workflow is not assigned, it will save automatically. If the workflow is assigned, it will restrict us to save because it requires the approval from the approval. It will be on Save. We can see here it is not allowing us to save, but it is triggering the workflow. Who are there in the workflow? That also it is showing in the list here, which we have taken as a position. And who is the C or to whom the final notification will be sent. That email ID also will be showing here. And after that, if we as an admin, if we want to know the name of the workflow, if we can keep the cursor here, we can see the name. The workflow will be also reflecting here. Now I will be submitting this, that it will be going to the first level of approval. And I will be keeping on confirm. Once we submit it, you can see here, you cannot make any other changes because until the pending workflow request has been approved. For that, what we need to do, we have to duplicate this screen. I will keep the screen like this and I will duplicate the screen. And I have to go to the first level of approval. Whoever is the first level of approval. The first level of approval. I will be going. Who are the first level of approval? That is Jordan, right? And I am passing to. He would at the same day email also too. If we email, it is there and also a communication in the homepage. We will go and see in the homepage if the update is coming, alert is coming or not. Here you can see see the notification as a first approval. If it is required, they can able to go and approve it. And approve with comment also is there. If they want to review it, they can able to go and review it. Once you click on the approve, the request will be sent from here to the second level. Whoever is there is the second level of approval. In the second level, who is the second level of approval? First was Jordan, second is Emma, right? I will just try to type Emma. We can see Emma also has the seal, the notification for the approval. If Emma want to check what is the up to what are the approvals which is already been done, there is an option here, review and approve it. It will take us to the wallet flow details when I click on here as Emma, proxy to Emma. You can see here in the wallet flow detail what was the requirement for which we have made the changes and who has initiated it, who has approved it. All these details will be there and they can able to go and the approval can able to go and validate the changes and have an option. Here I have an option to approve it. This step generally will not come in the real time. It will be showing send back, up to or decline, or reject will be there. If he is approving it from here by seeing validating the changes, then it will be going to the third step. When I'm just going here and clicking on approve, we can see here as a proxy to MS homepage that notification has been moved and it has been moved to the third level. Now I will become self. I have found as an approval I can see review and approve by clicking on that. It is redirecting to the workflow details and on the workflow detail. I can see whatever changes which is being made and according to that who has done the approval. Now the same thing as an admin, if I want to check now to level for approval was done. But I don't know as an admin who has initiated it for as a whole generator. I don't know what is the status of it for that I want to check there. We have a configuration to that is known as Manage Well Flow Request. When I click on Manage Well Flow Request, Make Well Flow Request, it will take us to the requested by, requested for the requested type requested by. It's always good to check by specifying the name. I have initiated it from my account. From this account, I will specify the name here. And I click on Search. Now we enter into a screen where we can see multiple columns are there. What other columns are there? That is request type. We have something as a request type. You can see here, then we have action requested for. Then we have the questions, state request status, effective date. These are something which is already there now. The requested status, if it is showing completed, then the action it will be only in the readable. If the requested status is in the pending, then the action will be editable. Let me go back, otherwise let me. Now here when I scroll down, here you can see pending is the status. What is the request which is initiated for request for division? And we have the action button also that is editable. You can see here you can able to. We can go and add another approval, change the approval, remove the approval, request everything or decline while in the process of the workflow. If we want to stop the workflow, decline the entire process, that is also possible as an admin. That is one thing if I want to check what is where the workflow is. Now you can see here under workflow details. We can see the changes which has been made and who all are the approvals and who all has approved it, who has initiated it. That everything will be showing, and if we click on here as an admin, it will show what are the level of approval was done and it is pending which. This as an admin we can see. In the previous some time minutes back, I have shown you how as an approval we can see with the help of taking on review, and we for both the things it will be redirecting to the also detail as an admin. It will redirect with the help of the configuration tool that is managed work for the. Or else as an approval we can able to go and see redirect to work for detail with the help of this one, what you call review and up to it. Now what I will do, I will go back to the final. I will talk to the final approval, that is Alex. Before the approving it, I need to check my email ID also. I am just opening my email ID. Just give me a moment. I think I can share my screen again. Here, we can see here when I'm scrolling down this option is there and when I'm approving it. This also will get updated. Now what I will do, I will just go here and I will keep on approving as an approval, final approval. Also, I can able to give you and check the approval status. I can keep on approving. Once I keep on approving, it will be kept moving from here and you can see a final notification will be receiving because this is the mail ID which I mentioned. Here it will be getting that create division for the division has been approved. Now when I go back into the system from here also, it has been done. I will become self. Now I will go back here. I will try to refresh it. Now you can see that has been finally approved. The message has now also been removed. You can see here when it has been approved the log also, it will be showing here. Any questions here? This we have tested for MDA for sure. First of all, we'll be going and doing the testing. Employee related field, but for testing, for MDA, for check after creating workflow, we have directly assigned it because there was an option available. But employees related field, there is no option available. We cannot directly assign it. For assigning the workflow in the employee related field can only possible with the help of the business. There is a concept, there is a feature called business tool where we will try to create a condition and with the help of the condition, we will try to call the changes will be happening. But here in this case, there is no requirement of creating the business tool because we can assign the workflow directly to that particular object. Any questions here? My question is actually, I started working on a separate recently. I have one question. There is one mail template popping up for the customer. I mean something actually about A, B, and they're not getting through. I mean what type of action? I found it because that HRSA action is not being used now. But my question is how? I mean that was one leaf of, I'm sorry, designation. And how do I actually identify this workflow is connected to which email template? I mean I have to change that. How do I identify this workflow is triggering what email can? What email template means? When you are going, actually, the client is actually getting one email where they have submitted resignation. They got one email. In that email, type of action is not being visible. That because the HRSA action is disabled from the current release. But however, I have to go and change in that email template. I have to remove that HRSA action to even reason. But how do I identify that this resignation workflow is connected to that email template? I mean, how do I figure out this template? See, well, flow, email template means it is a standard template or it's a custom template. I don't know. I mean, how do I identify that? See, first of all, we should know what is the name of the workflow which is triggering when, if you know the name of the workflow, you can go to the manage work. Manage of job is texture and search for that workflow. When you go and search for that workflow which is getting triggered, that workflow, end of the workflow, we have a workflow email configuration, right? Tab is there. If you remember, yes, this one. This email configuration tab is there. Here there will be either the standard one as well as the custom one. If customers created something as a custom email template, then that custom email template will be mapped with this workflow. Now question is that how we can able to go and check that custom email template. For that we have another configuration tool that is known as document generation tool. With the help of the document, I have a document generation process where if your customer require a custom email has to be sent when the workflow will be triggered. Then we will not be using the standard SAP standard template. We'll be using the customer specific template. For customer specific template, we have to configure it in the SAP SuccessFactors system. For configuring it, we have a configuration tool that is document generation tool. And there is a steps in that where we have to go there and we are doing the mapping now for you. You have to disable it with this workflow. That is your requirement, right? For that. Not disable anything. I just have to go to that email template and change the tokens. I mean, we have HRSA, action or abilities, and you. In the template, there is an email body will be there. In the email body, they would have used the standard tokens. That standard tokens, we can able to go and change it because that HRSA action now it is not been in use. That we can to go and just, but you need to know if it is a standard one or it is a customer. If it is a standard one, then if you remember in the introduction to mastery, we have seen this in the template. In that list, you have to search for that workflow. If it is a custom one, then you have to go with document generation tool. If it is custom document, then this should be standard. Go to that email notification and figure out which work. What type of a template is there? In that template, when you click on that template in the right side, you will find the email body where the tokens will be there. I think I might maybe work slow. Pending approval or workflow approval. I mean, if it is standard, I think I can go there and see. I tried to check that. No worries. Here is it clear this part which we have done. Now I am just pausing this workflow here and we will be going to the event present, because the reason is that once we complete the event present, we will go with the concept of the business rule, and in the business rule we will try to execute the same workflow as well as the event reason for whenever a change is happened. How the workflow and the event reason is getting triggered simultaneously. For that, we should know the concept of the business rule. But before business rule, we will let's complete the event resound. Let me go back into my accent. This part we have just done. We created a workflow and executed for MDF object. But employee related field, we will be working when we will completing the business rule, because workflow cannot be assigned directly to employee related field. It is assigned with the help of the business rule. Let me go here and let me go through the event resounds. We have the event resounds here. Let us try to discuss on the event and then the event reason. Event is something, a set of action or the transaction that takes place in the employee central. Any action or any changes which is happening in the employee letter, that is called as an action or a transaction. A transaction occurs when an employee or the manager or an admin make a changes to the employment or the possible information of an employee profile. Examples of a transaction can be a job transfer, location transfer, updating the home address, compensation. All these things. We can say this is a sort of transaction and keeping this transaction record. There is a use for keeping this transaction record. The purpose of keeping this transaction record is to keep the historical records for reporting and legal purpose. Suppose if we have the historical record, we can use those historical records for creating the report source to show the changes to an employee when the data time to time. If for any user time to time, whatever the changes in terms of the position or in terms of the job role, he has been there from last more than 2 to 3 years. He can also see how he has been grown and how the changes in his role has been carried to the help of by seeing it in the profile. And any changes also is to the upper world process. Employee Central Provider System define event. The label of the events can be entered, but it is not possible to add the new event. This event is a concept where event is something which has been controlled and maintained by. If we want to go and see the list of event, from how we can go and see the list of event, we can go here into the pick the center. in the particular center if I want to go to event. We can see event. And you can see these are the list of event values which we will show in here. We can see all these are the standard events. We can copy, we can change the label and everything we can do. But this is the something which is the standard one. And if we want to go and download the entire list from where we can able to go and download it. That is with the help of here we can take the generic object that is pre-placed values. Into the dependency keeping us know. Export. Once it has been exported, we have to go into monitor job. We can see here this has been executed today. Pick list value. Here we can able to download the status. Let me open the pick list value. I believe just we actually is visible to both of you. Here, from here you can able to go and see all the values will be showing here. If you want to identify the list of all the events, you can go to the Picky Center. If you want to download it in the Excel or in the CSV file, we can go with the important exporter. This is something which we should know as a consultant. Now again going back into my Excel. After this, what AP has done? They introduced another feature that is going to say event reason, which is a feature which they have kept under the foundation. Foundational object for QA, and it is a customizable object where the customer or the partner consultant can go and create certain event reason as per the business requirement. Event reason are defined by the customer. They are used to define most specifically the reason why an event has taken place. There is an event here. Event is something like a set of action is being performed. It changes is happening in the employee data. Event and event reason is being simultaneously connected to each other. When an event is occurring, SAP want to specify what is the reason behind that event, that they have came up with the concept of event reason. For example, if a manager had been making a changes to the employee data, for example by increasing the salary or by changing the department information, the reason this change is normally happening, that event has been taken place in the employee's professional life and even could be promotion or the transfer to other department. That is something coming under the event. Event is a foundation object. Event reasons are created and customizable by the customer or by the partner consultants or by the admins. Event reason must be connected to a hardcore event in the system. For that, for creating the event, what we need to do, we need to go to the manage of the plus structure. Again, when I go here, into manage of the praise structure, here we can go and see the event reasons, which is already been created. For that, suppose if I am going with the termination, you can see lot of event reasons are there. If I am taking something, the termination here you can see that this is being customized. In this particular instance, most importantly, the event reason, ID name, everything is, but we also have a mandatory field that is known as event. It also specifies when we are creating event reason. This event reason is hardcore connected with the event. And employee status also plays an important role when we are going and defining the event and event reason. There are sometimes the scenario in the support ticket used to come where the customer has performed some action and the event reason. It's showing correctly, but the employee status is not showing correctly. The reason is that whatever the event reason is being showing that we need to go and check the employee status is correctly configured for that event reason. Because event reason is coming finally. In the employee profile, when you're going and checking in the history. For example, when I'm just going and taking an employee here. I'm going to go to the employee profiler job history. When I go to the employee profiler job history, whenever we are performing one action, a new record will be created. And after creating the record, in that new record we can see the event and event reason. Even an event reason, and we can see the status also. Suppose if we have done the termination and after the event is the termination and the event reason is maybe the termination as a voluntary, maybe the termination as others or something which we are already seeing here at the event reason. The termination, there are certain terminations in that case also. If the employee status is we have kept as active, then after termination also it will show us active. It is always important when we are defining here, if it is a termination, then employee status should be taken as terminated. It should not be active. That may be the investigation and realization which we use to get when we get these issues in the support tickets. To keep this point in our mind while investigating. That is something about the event reason, how we are going and creating it or which is already being created. After the post implementation, also there are certain requirements where we need to go and create certain event reasons. These, what are the mandatory things? What are the following requirements? Customer will provide us even the translation and everything. Or they will say that refer to any old event reason and how that event reason is being created. Similarly, go and create the new event reason by doing to that particular event reason. That is something as a change request we will be getting. Further, I had to the event reason event and event reason. I have just created some table for our understanding where we have this event and the event. There are a certain list of events, that is data change, higher level of absence, pay rate change, termination transfer. For all the event, there is a reason behind it. These all reasons are the customizable one, which can be created by the customer or by the partner consultant. And where that, while creating it, that has to be mapped to that particular event, which we have seen already here. That when we are creating an event, reason that event is all. It is connected with event. Now further what happened? We after the event and event reason what SAP has done. Whenever the any user is going for making some end user is going and making some changes. Suppose here going to the action job and comping for. And I'm just going into the job info. And I'm selecting the date here. Suppose I'm selecting some random date. I'm selecting. After here, when I'm making some changes under the job info measure. And while clicking on a system will not allow us to save a layer time, what was happening? There we have an option of event and event reason. We need to manually enter the event and event reason because those were mandatory. Finally, whatever the changes which we are making, we are giving the notification. We are notifying to the system that this is the changes which is we have made by mentioning the event and event. To avoid it, what SAP has done in the from the provision has SAP has an option that may share you that document as an option. We need to enable that option from the provisioning. I'm showing you a screenshot in the Word document. Now the Word document. It's a blurred image because I've taken a screenshot, but still you can see here, enable business role for event reason derivation. While enabling this option, what will happen? We are finally going and using the event design derivation by creating a business. Earlier, what was happening? Each and every time we need to enter these values manually because we need to notify to the system what is the event and what is the event reason. Now the action will be performed automatically with the help of the concept called business room. Earlier, this configuration is also maintained in the XML, but in the previous SAP release, they have deprecated that ERD XML from the provisioning. Now everything has been migrated into the front time and we are meant doing it in the business room with the help of a business room. We will be creating a business room where everything will be done automatically and it will be sent the notification to the system rather entering it manually. That is the concept which introduced after the event reason that is called as an event reason derivation. Event design derivation. It is a process that can be set the system to correct any events, event reasons or even in that case of the wallet flow also. These two are different features. The flow is a different feature. Event reason is a different feature. Now when we go into the business room concept also, we should not write both. The system will not allow. The rule will not allow to write both the conditions for the event reason and the workflow in the single rule, and it is not recommended by SAP because both are different features. The condition has to be returned separately for both the features. That is for the event reason and for the workflow. As of now, even for some customers, they were also maintaining the workflow derivation X, M, L, all the configurations for the workflow. They were maintaining it from the provision. Now, slowly they are also getting migrated into the front end, and they are using the workflow with the help of a business room concept. Any questions here? No, they go. This is something where we used to get the requirement where certain, if you are into implementation project or if the implementation is already being done, then there will be some requirements where they are making some changes in the data and the event and event reason has not getting to good. To analyze it, we should know how this rule is being configured because event and event reason will be triggering automatically with the help of the business room. And because we have enabled that option, that is the Word document which we have seen that option from the provisioning, we will not be any manual entry of the event and event reason. It will be performed automatically with the help of the business room. Sometimes the rule condition is mentioned correctly or not, or the testing is being done correctly or not, because we are not getting the desired result. These permutation and combination, we need to check when we get a requirement that action is performed but the event and event reason is not being getting triggered. For that, we need to analyze what is the rule. What was the requirement? Is the condition is mapped as per the rule or not? And how they are going for that? How they are going for testing that rule to get the results. All these things, we need to analyze it. These are something common as the support tickets we used to get during our year. We need to do that for the event time projects, for event and event reasons. Otherwise, commonly we will get some change. Request for creating the event reason. That is one thing. Business rule, everything is already set. If you are into implementation, then we need to set up the business rule according to the event reason that the customer will be providing when we are gathering the requirement during the initial phase of the implementation discussion. Here we come to the event reason and the event reason. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.